I know you talked about your guys is like FDA approved, it's medical grade. What are we seeing out there that use other products?
So a lot of people have come into this space from a cosmetic side. Cosmetic really requires no oversight. What we do, we bring a lot of these brands back to our research and development facility and we'll test them. And what we find is the pH isn't in the right range. The parts per million of the hypochlorous, sometimes it's not even at an efficacious level. We're finding that people are adding ingredients to the hypochlorous acid, and it's a really unstable molecule, so you can't do that. Nobody's, to this date, has figured out how to do that. When we bring it back to our lab and we test it, there's no hypochlorous acid in it.
Hey, welcome back to All Things Possible with Bethany and myself, Adam. As you know, on the podcast, we're always looking at improving what we can through our family and looking at life through a holistic approach. And, Bethany does a lot of research in this area, and I do my best to implement. Yeah, so today we want to talk about how can we take care of ourselves through first aid and other areas. Having 4 children, those of you with children, it comes up a lot. Get bumps, scrapes, pink eye, you name it, bug bites, rashes.
All the things, wounds.
So yeah, today we wanted to bring Justin along from Active Skin Repair. We've been using it for several years, 5 years maybe.
Yeah, a while. I'm not even sure how long. I don't remember when we first used it, but it's been a while now. And I wanted to, before we get going, I just wanted to share a quick personal testimony. When we were in Indo the last couple of trips, Indo is this place where you're kind of in this third world country vibe.
In the boonies.
There's not a lot of support. You can't just go to the drugstore half of the time. So we always come super prepared. And the trip before our last one, we got so many bug bites, it was insane. Everyone seemed like they had chicken pox, and we're all laying in bed, scratching ourselves.
I would see Bethany up against a post, scratching her.
Yeah, my one arm struggles. I have to scratch up against the wall like an animal. But anyway, lo and behold, we came super prepared our last trip to Indonesia, and we had brought, active spray it was at least a similar brand, but how do you even say this ingredient?
It's hypochlorous acid.
Hypochlorous acid. We sprayed that on everything the entire trip. We had 3 bottles and we sprayed ourselves the whole time, all our bug bites, all our reef cuts. And even there, I'm always getting reef cuts for something about that area. And the reef is super alive. So your cuts tend to get infected, red, aggressive. And everything healed so much faster. There was a couple other factors involved. We used clay as well. But I feel like we've figured out this magic concoction for our trip. We were doing our LifeWave patches, Active Skin Repair, and clay.
Clay to dry it out.
Clay to suck it and dry it after. Yeah. And it was the magic.
Well, the night and day difference was the year before, our children, their bumps were all getting infected.
I think we had to use antibiotics on top of it.
Yeah.
That just in case. And so
we didn't have.
The cuts were getting so bad.
Yeah.
And so, it was a vast change in our approach. And I just feel like we found this magic kind of, supplies for our first aid, for our reef cuts, bug bites, all the things that happen when you're traveling international, and even sunburn. I don't know if I was using it for sunburn, but we should have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we should have.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was reading on this because doesn't it say it's good for sunburn?
It works great on sunburns, yeah.
That's cool. In the world of nutrition and health, things are always changing. We're learning more. And I remember as a child, you get a cut, you just put your Neosporin on. But it seems like things are also changing. Things are coming to light, even within skin repair, how we do first aid, how we take care of ourselves. When did hypochlorous acid it seems like a buzzword right now. I see it a lot. When did that start gaining traction?
Sure. Well, our bodies produce it, right? So our white blood cells produce hypochlorous acid. So we're mimicking the body's immune response. So it's been around since humans have been around. because our bodies have been producing it. Scientists figured out how to replicate it a long time ago, over 100 years ago. In terms of being able to replicate it, it's been around. The real progression has been in the last 15 years in being able to stabilize it and be able to get it into a bottle. Because before you would replicate the molecule, it had a really short shelf life. It was made bedside in hospitals, but it was very tough to actually have any type of longevity to it. And so now we're able to stabilize it, get it into a very specific pH. So you want to get it into a skin-friendly pH around the 5 to 7 range. And then we're able to get it into a very specific kind of parts per million that allows it to be efficacious while not being irritating to the skin.
That's interesting. I wanted to backtrack a little to what's your background? Like, you decided to launch a brand surrounding this ingredient.
Yeah.
Like, are you super nerdy on these things? Like, what prompted you to even like go that route? Because I mean, like, launching a business is a big, endeavor, and trying to just get the marketing and get people to come on board. It's like, what, you must believe so much in this ingredient, or
Sure. It's funny you were using Indonesia. So previously, when I was a lot younger, before kids, I was doing a lot of surf travel as well. And long story short, I at the time owned an agency that would help launch regenerative medicine, wound care products into hospitals, but very expensive products. Bioengineered skin substitutes that they were using in surgical procedures on chronic wounds. And this medical device company came to me and they said, we want your help to launch this technology, hypochlorous acid, into the hospital. And I started to do, like I do always, read the clinical research, start to understand the science behind it. And this light bulb went off and you're like, wow, this is really cool. It's regenerative in the sense that your body produces it. It's completely natural and non-toxic, but it has this amazing efficacy to the product. And unlike these really expensive regenerative medicine products, it's at a price point that a consumer could afford. And I went back to the medical device company and they had an over-the-counter indication through the FDA. And they're like, no, we just want to focus on the hospital side. And I said, well, can I license this technology from you? And so we licensed that same medical grade formulation that they were using in the hospital side 10 years ago. And that was active skin repair. And it first started, the bug bites one, sunburns are like, we would take it on surf trips. And then what we really found, though, especially while we were working with athletes, this is a product that every mom, every father should have in their medicine cabinet because I have a 4-year-old daughter, right? It's daily issues, the cuts and the scrapes, but the bug bites, the sunburns, from what age too, this works amazing on any kind of a bacterial inflammation issue. So it goes from the earliest days of diaper rash, hand, foot, and mouth, baby acne, baby eczema, all the way into those toddler years where they start to walk and the cuts and scrapes. So it works amazing on reef cuts, that kind of outdoor action sports world, but also where we really found that daily application is in parenting.
So our body produces hypochlorous acid. What's its purpose? You're smarter than we are.
So the purpose, if we get cut, scraped, burned, any type of skin damage, our body's natural immune response is to send white blood cells to that injury, right? Our body's natural way to heal and fight off infection, send those white blood cells. Inside the white blood cells is the molecule hypochlorous acid. It's your body's natural way to do 3 major things: fight off foreign pathogens, so bacteria, viruses, and fungi. And then it's also helping reduce that inflammatory response from that injury, and it speeds up the natural healing process. So it's a really powerful antimicrobial. It kills 99.9% of bacteria, including even complex bacteria like staph, within 15 seconds, but no toxicity to it. So if you look at things there's not many products out there that's going to have that efficacy with the safety. It's the same safety profile as saline solution.
So if I get staph, which we get staph on the reef quite a bit, I sprayed, are prone to it. Probably got it from like football or wrestling, anyways. Spraying something like iodine solution or even like hydrogen peroxide, that also kills, I've heard, like good bacteria, or like you're killing more than just the bad stuff. But you're saying hypochlorous is actually since it's natural, it's what your body produces, it won't attack or kill the good stuff?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And so let's look at a hydrogen peroxide. It does kill bacteria, but it also is killing all those healthy growth factors that your body's producing to help heal. And it just kind of nukes that site. That's why it stings. Hypochlorous acid, what's in active skin repair, it's 100 times more powerful than bleach, but no toxicity to it. So what you can do is it's safe enough to spray around your eyes, ears, mouth, so you can kill all that complex bacteria, but not have to worry about any of those toxicity issues from the harsher antiseptics.
If you did that with bleach,
you would not be spraying bleach over your eye, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Neosporin is those are synthetic antibiotics, right? Just put into a petroleum base. About 20% of people will have an allergic reaction to those synthetic antibiotics.
Oh, that is a high percentage.
Yeah, and so you're not getting, because that molecule's innate to your immune system, you're not having any of those allergic reactions as well.
So if a child, you just sprayed in your eye, like I'm just thinking for our children, sometimes they get pink eye or like a sty. So would that totally help with doing something like pink eye?
It's, again, all the time, bacterial, anything like those are bacterial issues, right? So anything bacterial inflammation, it's tough. If you've ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, we always joke it's the Windex of My Big Fat Greek Wedding, just because it's tough not to sell it like snake oil, right? Because it just works. But so much of skin issues are bacterial or inflammation, right? And one thing I always say too is it's a great first line therapy, especially before you move to like steroidal treatments or something that's going to be more toxic. It might not always work, but bacterial, fungal, viral issues can be pretty tricky, and a lot of times it might not work, but it can't hurt. It's again same safety profile. So as kind of like a first line therapy, it's great for all those things. We get people who use it on atopic dermatitis like eczema all the time because those are bacterial colonization issues.
I wanted to ask, he mentioned the eye stuff, like children tend to get like stuff with their eyes. So it doesn't say don't spray it in your eye.
So yeah, it's safe to spray around eyes, ears, and mouth. One of the things I always tell people is this is a really well-researched molecule. There's 100 peer-reviewed clinical articles around hypochlorous acid. So you can go in, and PubMed's a great resource where you can go in and you can look at all the different articles that have been written around and all the different things it works on.
Yeah, we were at a children's surf contest the other day, and someone walked up and handed us like a different brand of hypochlorous acid. I know you talked about your guys is like FDA approved, it's medical grade. What sets yours apart? Like, what are we seeing out there that use other products?
So formulation does matter. So it's one of those that you can just say hypochlorous acid, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not all going to work the same. How you formulate it becomes really important. And ours is a proprietary formulation. Proprietary meaning that nobody else has access to it, right? So
nobody else can do that.
Nobody else can do that. We own that process and the recipe that we use to make it. Stabilizing it is very tricky. And so what you find is now that it's become so popular and because it's used a lot as a facial spray post-workout, and it works amazing like that. It helps prevent acne. It helps, just keep your skin clean, especially if you're out on the run. So a lot of people have come into this space from a cosmetic side. Cosmetic really requires no oversight. And so you can get what we do. We bring a lot of these brands back to our research and development facility, and we'll test them. And what we find is the pH isn't in the right range. The parts per million of the hypochlorous, sometimes it's not even at an efficacious level. We're also finding super minimal, so you're not really getting much out of it. One has been really surprising lately is we're finding that people are adding ingredients to the hypochlorous acid, and it's a really unstable molecule, so you can't do that. Nobody's, to this date, has figured out how to do that. When we bring it back to our lab and we test it, there's no hypochlorous acid in it. So, and that's
on the bottle.
But on the bottle, it says it because it's just, unfortunately, there's not a lot of regulation around cosmetic. We are FDA cleared as a medical device for use in open skin. That's a huge differentiator for us, is that you can feel safe. But also the process that we go through, every bottle that comes, we manufacture everything in an ISO certified clean room in California. If you came in, it's people in spacesuits and everything gets tested to make sure that that product is working the way we say. It's non-toxic like we say. It has a safety profile. It has a lot number that comes on it. We have a unique device identifier. It goes through all those same process that you would get in a surgical procedure before we send it out to our consumers. So when you're putting it on your baby, you know that the product is safe and it's working. So it's just a much higher level of confidence that you're putting on your body something that's safe, especially when you're dealing with like open skin or newborn babies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking back on one of our babies who had like a lot of skin issues, and now I'm like, dang it, I wish I had this back then. He was just covered in little issues and he looked kind of haggard for a little while there. Yeah, I'm gonna spray my wounds because I'm ADD like that, and
You want to do it
it
right
live. But I'm getting really pumped up on this. If you're a mom, you know summer means constantly dealing with scraped up knees, bug bites, and sunburns. For a long time, I had a drawer full of different creams and ointments for every single issue, and then I found Active Skin Repair. It's a medical grade, non-toxic spray that uses the same molecule our white blood cells produce to heal our bodies. It stops 99% of bad bacteria without stinging or burning. I use it on just about everything now, from diaper rash to reef cuts. It has completely led the way in my first aid kit. Go to activeskinrepair.com and use the code Bethany20 to get 20% off your order. I highly recommend grabbing the double pack. I wanted to ask you as well, I've seen people using this same ingredient, maybe not the medical grade version, for cleaning their house. You guys don't have any cleaning products, do you?
No. And I'm glad you brought that up. Hypochlorous acid, amazing molecule. So anytime it has wider adoption, we're always excited for that. And you can actually buy at-home generators that make hypochlorous acid for hard surface cleaning. Completely different process, different approvals. So you're going through EPA on that one. Yeah, it's an amazing, like if you're putting it on your countertop, amazing non-toxic cleaner, right? But when you're talking about being able to get it in that right pH range, to have the right parts per million, a lot of times what happens is they increase the percentage of hypochlorous on hard surface stuff just because it's a countertop, right? So it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't be spraying that over my eyes, right? So just very different uses, but it works. Hospitals use them as fogging machines. The EPA approved it to kill COVID during 2020. So that was a big. So from a hard surface side,
you would see them go through the airplane and it's like fogging out.
They were fogging them up, and a lot of times hypochlorous acid was used for that. So
that's cool. It's better than what I was imagining them to be using.
Yeah, like bleach. Yeah, something.
Some sort of gnarly pesticide.
Yeah, so it really caught on a lot in 2020, especially from being able to use it in hard surface. But it gets used all over the place.
What's the difference between the baby formula and the normal formula? And there's even a kid's formula.
Yeah, so nothing.
Okay.
So
just for the parent psychology, they're like, oh, I'm definitely going to buy the baby.
We first came out, and we were doing a lot in sports and a lot in outdoors, and everybody just kept, can I use it on my baby? Can I use it on my kids? And eventually it just, instead of, we're like, we just need to make a label that says baby, use on diaper rash, kids, And so it was just to address those questions. But all the same FDA cleared formulation. There's no reason to change the formulation. It's safe. It gets used in neonatal ICUs, right? So we know it's safe for the youngest, and it's just different labeling.
I like it.
Okay, I remembered what I wanted to ask you. So I wanted to dive in more to like acne and skin issues like that, because I've had a few friends who've had like severe acne and hormonal acne around like the jawline and the chin, and it's an intense one to deal with. Do you have any cool testimonials of people using Active Skin Repair with that?
Thousands. I think that's one of those. It's tough to know if I put it on a cut, did it heal 2 days quicker? Did it heal 3 days? You know what I mean?
Right.
So with acne, that's such a visual before and after, right? And so people see that and they're like, whoa, like. And a lot of times, especially if you're dealing with chronic acne, it's something that you've tried a lot of products with, right? And so one thing I always tell people too is like, if you go into Amazon, we have over 6,000 or 10,000 reviews, and you can go in there and you can actually search within Amazon and say acne, and you'll just see all those testimonials there. But all the time, and we get a ton of before and afters for those types of things.
Wow, that's so exciting, because I feel like a lot of acne problems, they don't deal with their nutrition and hormone balance, and then they end up going down the drug route, which doesn't necessarily solve the problem. And so to have something more natural and holistic that actually works. And then, yeah, I just know they don't like even using much product on their skin half the time too. So this, to me, it seems like a dream.
And so for a facial application, what we recommend is it's your first step, right? And so the molecule needs 15 seconds to work. So you just spray it on your face. Within 15 seconds, you can go on and apply all the other products that you're using after that. So it's kind of that first step to kind of facial care, skin health side.
Awesome. I'm curious, since you're so well studied on this, is there any other products that your household uses on the regular to support, like, beyond this? You know, like,
I mean, there's other, what else?
What else do you guys use in your home? Like, just more of a home, like, family conversation.
Yeah. I mean, from an everyday side of things, my daughter's 4, so we're moving out of that, but we used a lot of balms as well. And we were talking before the show started, I always go to EWG. They have a great resource. And so from baby skin health side, we were, because hypochlorous acid works great as like to kill off that bacteria, the inflammation, but a lot of times you need that, like, either that barrier. So zinc works amazing as kind of a barrier. That's amazing. Colloidal silver, zinc, manuka honeys, those are all great products as well. All great antimicrobials too. But that zinc can create that barrier, or a balm, like a good natural balm, can create that moisture, that hydration that you want to get that skin back healthy. We did just recently come out with a hyaluronic acid serum. Hypochlorous acid can be a little bit drying. So if you're using especially on chronic skin health, but you're using it every day, we wanted to create a product that helps from a hydration side. So hyaluronic acid is also a great molecule. We import ours. It's a really high quality formulation from Italy that we import in. We just don't charge $200 for a tube of it. So you get a good quantity of it, a good value. And we also put it through the EWG verification program so that all of our ingredients are clean. The newest ones that we're coming out with are sunscreens. So mineral-based, all EWG verified, which is very tough to get through the EWG verification program for sunscreens. Those will be coming out. And we love to be outdoors as a family, right? Like, it's a huge value of our family. Sunscreens are just a daily use product from, being out at the beach and in the ocean and all that stuff.
What you put on your skin matters. We're absorbing whatever that is. So if you're putting toxic sunscreen, like the spray-ons,
it's so
banana boats,
walking in the grocery store and the what do you call the drugstores, and you look at the sunscreen options, and I'm like, I literally won't even use any of those sunscreens. Like, I'm having to bend over backwards to find decent sunscreen.
It's confusing. And it also, but the advancement in mineral and zinc sunscreens has come a long way in the last year or two, because I'm sure you remember that when you put on like a all natural sunscreen, a mineral sunscreen, and it just you had that white cast. It was just
my girlfriends and I are always like, we'll put the sunscreen on and then some tinted moisturizer on afterwards, because it would just look so funny.
So I think our formulations have gotten way better and not having that white cast to them as well. They're way lighter. It's not as pasty. Those are some big ones.
And then we talked about it already, but again, we can use this for cuts, scrapes, rashes, insect bites, burns, sunburns, other minor skin irritations. It's safe around the eyes, ears, mouth. I just think, there's so often our children in particular are just getting all kinds of random things on their eyes, feet, body. I got really excited because we had a hand, foot, mouth sometime this last year, and I'm like, dang it, I wish I was.
We should have been spraying that. We didn't think about that.
Yeah, it was funny when we first launched a product, and this is before I had kids myself. It was all the athletes wives that were like, hey, you're not marketing this correctly. This is something like you need to be going to the moms. And it is because, I mean, it's just daily stuff, right? Like if you have kids, these are like, you know, you don't want your kids to get sunburn, but it's inevitable. And
like,
bug
you're not
bites.
a failure as a mother if your child gets sunburn.
Yeah.
And then half the time I'll put sunscreen on them and they're like rub it off like without me knowing. And then lo and behold, their nose is just really
just have Rudolph nose, and then it's nice and protected on the side. So I think the key is setting up bottles. And what we do is we have like a bottle in each truck.
in each vehicle.
And it's on hand. But it made me think like it's shelf stable, but sometimes we find an old active skin repair bottle laying around. Like, is it still good after?
I threw one out the other day.
You did?
Like, there's no way this thing's still good.
Yeah. That's a good. So we have 2-year shelf life. We'll have expiration. That's a great way if you ever want to know whether somebody knows what they're doing with a formulation. Check to see if there's an expiration date. Check to see if there's a lot number on it. If they're not putting expiration dates on it, it just not going through a high level of rigor.
Because it can eventually go bad or ineffective.
So a lot of times when people don't understand stabilization, it might come off the production line and be perfect for that first month. And then after like 2-3 months, then it starts to degrade because they didn't stabilize it properly. So shelf stable, that's where it really matters. We're working on changing our bottles. We're working to move everything to ocean waste plastic, actually. And so that's a really big initiative. We're 1% for the planet. So we're trying to do as much as we can from an environmental side of things. But the plastic that you use, we always get, can you do like a 1 ounce bottle? But we can't, because if you change the volume to plastic ratio on it, it destabilizes the molecule. And that's all to say is that like you can't use clear bottles. There's all these things go into it.
Because the light can affect it.
The light can affect it. Yeah, UV affects the stability of it. You can't add other ingredients. People ask, can I just pour it into another bottle? And the answer is a hard no on that one. You will destabilize the molecule.
Good to know,
Ours, it's not a hard drop off. It's kind of like sunscreens have shelf lives to them too, right? And so it's not like, hey, on this date, it stops working. But the efficacy that we know that and we can stand behind is for that period of time. Same thing with Tylenol. You know, you probably have some old Tylenol in there. They all have shelf lives to them. It's not like at that date it stops working. But the farther it goes out, the farther I would say then probably just put it in the garbage.
I also wanted to just touch on is I have often used this spray with our children when they barely have a scrape, but they need that placebo inspiration to overcome the drama.
The spray.
And so it's a mental support as well. Like you're like, here, oh no, you got a scrape, let's spray it. Even if it's like you can't even see it on the skin. Like stuff like this is also like great in that sense. But then it also can help if it's
the other day,
injury.
Wesley got a scrape from skateboarding, and he went to the car and he sprayed it. And it was like a day or two later, he's like, Dad, the spray is helping a lot. He was like telling me about it. And I was like, yeah, well, the stuff is awesome.
But what's cool about this is it doesn't hurt. There's other options that we've used over the years that like it kind of stings, and this doesn't sting. So it doesn't, it's just more of like it actually helps. And it's a great placebo support for the child when they're upset.
It's tough for the adults when we're doused with peroxides and alcohols if you got cut, and it hurts. And you have to explain to people just because it's not stinging doesn't mean it's not working, right? Like it's actually working better than what that alcohol would have done too. But for kids it's great. We get it all. They call it the boo-boo spray, and they get excited about it. And being able to, it doesn't hurt, so that's good.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share while we're
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of it.
I'm feeling pumped. I just want to start spraying myself.
Knowledge is power, right? Like I feel like we learned a lot, and man, really motivated to like take care of our children.
I'm grateful to have something that is a blessing. I mean, we used it. I'm just mind blown by the vast difference between the 2 Indo trips.
Yeah.
And how much better our cuts were healing. And this was part of that journey.
Yeah. And we were in the water a lot that trip. Right. Usually wounds heal slow in the water.
Very slow.
Yeah.
There's just a lot kind of going against you.
And the last thing you want to do is ruin your trip with some sort of infection, right? And so that's what you're, and that same thing with as we get older too. I mean, this is a great product for kids, but as you get older, our wounds just don't heal as fast too, right?
That's
and so
a really great point. I'm thinking of all the elderly. They always have these nicks and weird things on their legs and stuff.
So that's where it gets used a lot on the hospital side is with elderly patients for people who can't, especially people with diabetes and things like that. So from a professional side, we see a lot in chronic wounds and stuff like that. So it makes a lot of sense. Your body isn't producing as much white blood cells as it used to, right? So, it just helps from doing that.
Justin, thanks so much for sharing about active skin. Stoked to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, and I was like, this was so good. And I feel like for moms, it's hard to know what works, what should we use. And so thanks again for all your input and wisdom and like going out on a limb and starting this brand.
Yeah, something so quality.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being on here. And I know we did, we created a discount code Bethany20 for any of your listeners. So
the links will be in the show notes, y'all. And be sure to check out Active Skin Repair.
Thanks, guys.